Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, coming at you with another video today where we're going to be looking at 7 cards that I think are only going to get better with future set releases. But first, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I do appreciate it. I do put out regular content about the hobbies that I love the most, with this channel being dedicated to the card games that I play. Now we're talking about cards right now that I think have a lot of opportunity for growth just based on the power level inherent on the card. But right now they're either not seeing the support that they need to see, or just not maximizing their full potential. So a lot of these cards are cards when they were initially spoiled look to be very, very promising, but unfortunately with set releases coming out, they didn't get the pieces of the puzzle that they looked like they were going to get. But with some speculation and with some early knowledge of what's coming in set 3, I think these are the cards that really stand out of set 2 to get the most improvement with the next set release. And first one on our list is going to be Mulan Reflecting. Now, she is an Amber Rare for 4. She is inkable. She has 3 strength, 3 willpower, and 2 lore generation. She does have the ability to shift 2 and has the ability Honor to the Ancestors. Whenever this character quests, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a song card, you may play it for free. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. So this card is obviously missing on a lot of spots right now. It has that shift 2. It does not have a shift target right now to where it gets out any sooner than turn 4. We do have the 3-drop Mulan, so it can come in on turn 4 with the ability to quest. However, the 2-drop or the 3-drop Mulan really isn't a very good play, so you really would just be cheating, or you would really just be playing that card just to get her to have the ability to quest the turn she comes into play, which is really not worth a spot in most decks. I think if we can get a 1-drop or a 2-drop, which we do know in set 3, we are getting a kind of 2-drop universal shift target. So something like that could make her stat line itself good enough to play on that shift 2. She's not much smaller than the Queen. Now obviously she can't sing the 5-drop spells that the Queen can sing, and her stat line is a little lower, so I don't know that she'd be able to replace the Queen, but at least find some room in there. The second part of her ability, the Honor of the Ancestors, while it has a potentially powerful effect, unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of songs, especially in Amber, built in right now that have a need for this ability to come into play. She can sing pretty much all of the Amber songs that are getting played currently. She can sing a good majority of the songs minus our 5-drop songs in Steel. So like her ability really isn't worth the trade-off right now. Now, if we start getting some higher cost songs such as, it's like a 7-drop Be Prepared, possibly something similar effect, something very powerful at the top end that we can manipulate and play for free off the top of the deck with Mulan. I could see this card absolutely being a must-have card in a deck that revolves around kind of setting up the top of your deck, maybe using some of the Sapphire or Amethyst engine to kind of look at the top cards of your deck, and then using her to play a higher cost song off the top of your deck for free, especially if we can get that going very early on. I could see this card having just a ton of potential if something like that were to emerge. And honestly, with the longevity of a game like this, it's bound to happen that we start getting some higher cost songs. I don't think the Be Prepared is the end-all, be-all for our above 5 cost songs. But as of right now, we just don't have it, and as such, she really hasn't found much of a home. Next one up is Lucifer, the Cunning Cat. He is a 5-drop, uninkable for Emerald. He has 2 strength and 2 willpower and 2 lore generation. Not very good stats for a 5-drop uninkable. However, he does have the ability Mouse Catcher. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards either 2 cards or 1 action card, so he can come in and finish off a lot of hands, or he can really put somebody's hurting on somebody's hand if they only have maybe one Be Prepared in their hand, or some other action they were trying to hold. They're going to have to sacrifice 2 cards to keep a hold of those particular cards. Emerald right now is not in a great spot in the format. I don't think that's going to be the case forever, obviously, and as such, I think this guy can absolutely find a home. Emerald has shown itself to be a color that they're going to look at bouncing your own cards to your hand, as well as your opponents, with cards like Bounce and Bippity Boppity Boo, to name a few, where this card can be cycled over and over again, giving Emerald an option kind of in that control vein to help mitigate your opponent's potential in their hand. I really like this card. I think, like I said, I think the biggest thing holding him back right now is the power level of Emerald as a whole, and the fact that the most popular decks in the meta right now are pretty much all running the Amethyst Draw engine, which is a very substantial amount of card advantage in the current environment. But if Emerald can get some more support in that control vein, I could absolutely see Lucifer being a key piece of that puzzle. All right, the next 2 on the list are on the list for very similar reasons, so I knocked them out together, and that is Mickey Mouse, the friendly face, and the action 0 to Hero. Now, Mickey Mouse is a 6-drop inkable for Amber. He has 1 strength, 6 willpower, and 3 lore generation. Whenever this character quests, you may play 3 less for the next character you play in this turn. And then 0 to Hero is a 2-drop uninkable song for Amber, where you count the number of characters that you have in play, and you can pay that amount of ink less for the next character you play this turn. Now, both of these effects are very, very strong, and I was really looking for some of the cards that were going to be spoiled after these cards were spoiled to kind of see where those magic numbers kind of lie. For 0 to Hero, that magic number for me is like 7, because on turn 4, if you've curved out, each turn you'd be able to drop a 7-drop character with 0 to Hero. Now, we do have some impactful 7-drops in the format right now. We have the Sapphire Hades, we have the Amber Stitch from set 1 as well, and then in set 2, we did get the 7-drop Cinderella, so we do have some targets for it now, just not kind of the impact targets that we might necessarily want to see. I think as we get more cards, we're obviously going to get more 7-drop characters. We may even get characters in the 1-drop, 2-drop, or 3-drop spot that bring in more than 1 character. Like, they may bring in a character token as well, which obviously would make this character very good as well, because it is not specified that it has to be a character card. So if we do start to see character tokens and token generation in the future, this card obviously gets better as well. That is not a mechanic that I would be super surprised to see either. So if we see either that or more impactful 7-drops, I could see 0 to Hero being an absolute game changer in future sets. Now, with Mickey Mouse, it's a little different, as his magic number is 10. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 10-drop character, which we did get a 10-drop character in this last set with Goofy. Being able to play 1 10-drop character on turn 7 is not really super important, because that 1 character is probably going to be answered even if they have some form of evasion. You do have Be Prepared out there on that same turn. So it's not so much that 1 10-drop. Now, obviously, if we have a 10-drop that emerges that can't be banished by like item effects or something like that, that's a different story. But 10 ink in the sense of playing 2 or 3 characters in a turn, if that 10 ink spot becomes really important on turn 7, for example, playing 2 5-drops on turn 7, if there's a good synergy with those 2 5-drops coming into play at the same time, something like that is kind of the support number that I'm looking for to really make this card shine. Because as it is, obviously a 6-drop that generates for 3 lore is not terrible, but unfortunately the fact that he has to quest once to have any effect on your board is a really rough spot to have him in a meta full of the amount of removal that we have right now. and he's only most likely going to get to activate one time, so that one time's got to be super impactful. But I would just tell you, look out for kind of those magic numbers that kind of line up with 10 or 7 for either one of these cards to really just jump out from the obscurity that they are right now and be impact players in the future metas. All right, next two on the list are again similar, going to be cards that benefit from future sets and very much the same way, and that is going to be Belle, Hidden Archer, and Beast, the Tragic Hero. Now, Belle is a 5-drop uninkable for Emerald with 3 strength, 3 willpower, and 3 lore generation. The ability Shift 3 and the ability Thorny Arrows. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all cards in their hand. Now, this card was spoiled very early on in the set 2 spoilers, and people were absolutely just falling all over themselves with how powerful this card would be, and it has seen exactly 0 play up to this point in time other than in just casual decks. But that's not because the card was improperly evaluated. It's just because people were assuming with a Shift 3 we would see a lower cost Belle to get her shifted out into play, and we did not get that in set 2. So unfortunately, I left this card at the absolute soonest, coming in on turn 4, and that's locking you into Sapphire and Emerald, arguably the 2 weakest colors in the format right now, and pushing back the potential of this card a full turn in the best case scenario, and arguably having no synergy with the other Belle either. In set 3, we have confirmed that there is going to be a universal shift target from 2 to 3, which means this character's potential infinitely improves. As it is also in Emerald, we are not locked into 2 separate colors, and we can consistently get this character into play questing on turn 3, which is absolutely huge. To even be questing for 3 on turn 3 is great in and of itself, but the fact that that limits your opponent's options severely onto what they can do outside of challenging her is also great as well. On turn 3, as of right now, the only card that we have that deals with her directly without a challenge involved would be Smash in Steel, and even then it's going to use their whole turn to take out that character. Obviously worth it, but it's not going to let them be able to establish anything behind that character as well. We've also not seen much in the way of giving target characters Reckless. If we have a 1-drop or a 2-drop or possibly even a song that comes out that would allow us to play her, swing, and then give one of their characters Reckless on top of that, obviously helps the value of this card as well. I think this is one of the cards on the list that has the biggest opportunity to be a super impactful card in the shortest amount of time possible, as we do know that it's going to have a shift target coming in the next set. That shift target, while in Emerald, also greatly improves our other card on the list, which was the Beast Tragic Hero, which was a 5-drop inkable for Steel with 3 strength, 5 willpower, and 2 lore generation. Again, has that shift 3, so we can get him out right on curve. With the ability, It's Better This Way. At the start of your turn, if this character has no damage, draw a card. Otherwise, he gets +4 strength this turn. Now, I know what you're saying, and this card is one of the best cards out of set 2 already. Why is this card going to get it even better? Well, as we said, he's going to have a shift target and be able to come in on turn 3. Now, that makes this guy an absolute insane card for a number of reasons. For one, reason number 1, if you are playing Control, to have that draw engine in play a full 2 turns earlier is very, very good. It also limits the number of possible answers your opponent could have to take care of this character in that amount of time. If you are just looking to go more aggressive, having a 5 willpower, 2 lore generator that is questing on turn 3 is also very, very good in and of its own right. There, as of right now, is nothing that can trade favorably at that point in time for a 1-for-1, which can just allow you to really push ahead in an early lore race and really force some challenges on your opponent, because they're not going to want you to be questing for 2 and then drawing a card on that opposing turn as well. This kind of card on the play could come into a pretty clear board as well, depending on what you have dropped on your first 2 turns. That 5 cost is also crucial on both of these cards, as that allows them to sing pretty much all the songs that we currently have, and I'm sure we'll be getting more of in the sets as well. Now, before we get to our first card on the list, I'd love to hear what cards you guys think have the most potential in future sets down in the comment section below. What kind of mechanics you guys are hoping to see to make those cards work as well. But without further ado, our number 1 card on the list, and that is Bippity Boppity Boo. Now, this is a 3-cost song for Emerald that is not inkable, with the ability to return a chosen character of yours to your hand to play another character with the same cost or less for free. Now, when I saw this card spoiled, I thought that this would be the standout card from the set. Unfortunately, it got 0 support in its color. Now, if you think the lack of presence of this card in the format is just because this is a bad card, you need not look any further than the current Amethyst builds that are going around right now with the Madam Mim packages to realize how substantial this kind of ability is. To bounce and reset a character is absolutely huge, and this card can do it for free, and the fact that it is a song. Unfortunately for this card, it is in the worst color in the set 2 meta right now, being Emerald, and has little to no synergy inside its own color, with the lone exception really being Lucifer, who's also on this list. And unfortunately, bringing Emerald in as a color just for this one card has just not been worth the investment, with so many other good options in those colors. Amethyst being able to do a lot of what this card can do without sacrificing the power level of the rest of the cards in that color pool. So this is a card with some additional triggers from Emerald, or Emerald just becoming a competitive color, I think will jump absolutely out of the unplayed status that it is right now and really be a feature card in future formats. So there you guys have it. There are my choices for the 7 cards that I think have the most potential with future sets out of set 2. Let me know what you guys think of the list down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, Hobby Hero out.